So I have to kind of remind him that it's one of these mythical characters. That, I guess, probably if you dig deep enough, you find that every state has a particular mythical character. You think, for example, of the Loch Ness Monster, you know, Bigfoot in this country. Several years ago, there was all kind of talk about Bigfoot and jackalope and stuff like that. Anyway, this is from New Jersey. It's a very, very old story. Many of these mythical beings could turn themselves into other kinds of beings also, or other animals. And if they were threatened, they could make their escape. So this is what happened to the Jersey Devil. We were still just a couple of preschoolers when my brother Joe and I went to live with our grandmom up in Mays Landing, New Jersey. Now, she was not really our grandmom, but she turned out to be as good a grandmom as anybody could ever hope for. She had already raised 5 children of her own. 3 of them were grown and were out on their own, and there were 2 younger boys still living at home there. They were probably in the neighborhood of 19 or 20 years old. So, well, one day my brother and I were out there playing in the yard, and we thought, we ought to have a tent. If you have boys of your own, you know every boy loves a tent. So we scrambled around up in the old attic and come up with a ratty old bed sheet. You know, we're talking about Depression times, and back then nobody threw anything away. So we took this old bed sheet and we took it out and we hung it over the line, stretched that out a bit, and by golly, we thought we were in heaven every time we got in that tent. We just loved that thing. We seldom came out of it except for eating and sleeping. Played in that tent all day. And then we got the idea, wouldn't it be nice to actually sleep in a tent? After all, what is a tent for? Well, Grandma would have none of it. She says, no, you boys stay in this house. As you know, we've been hearing a lot of stories about this Jersey Devil being around in these parts lately. And he would just love to gather up a couple of little boys like you, cart them on away. You stay in this house. Well, we were, I was young preschoolers. We didn't know anything about any Jersey Devil much. I mean, we had heard stories, sure, but we weren't afraid of a Jersey Devil. So we pestered Grandma and boy, day and night and day and night. Finally, she gave in. She says, well, all right, we'll try it one night. See how it goes, but I'm going to have my 2 boys keep an eye on you. Well, I was all right with that. Us, we didn't care. We were paying attention to them anyhow. So that evening, we got our old makeshift sleeping bags out, just put them in the tent. We lit us up a campfire out in front of the tent, crawled in there, told a story or 2 to each other, began to doze off, and all of a sudden, we heard this terrible noise that's outside the tent. Hey! Boys, oh boys. Next thing you know, in this tent come those big, red, fiery red eyes. And then come the old deer head. And we was out of that tent and back up in our bed before you could say the Jersey Devil. Well, the next day, we had our breakfast and we went outside. And there's these 2 boys skinning out a deer. Well, they told us, well, you know, we were keeping an eye on you just like Grandma said, and we saw that when that Jersey Devil come in the front and you went out the back, he came on in, but got so tangled up in that ratty old bed sheet, we thought, boy, this is our chance to catch the Jersey Devil. So they go running out there. But that Jersey Devil saw him. And just like other mythical characters, turned itself into a deer. Well, that was a big mistake, because everybody in the whole state of New Jersey back then knew if you wanted to get yourself a deer, all you had to do is go out there just a little bit after dark with that long flashlight, and if you could catch that deer in the eye with that flashlight, it froze. Couldn't seem to move, just petrified. And all you had to do is just walk up there, and boy, you could get yourself a deer. That's just exactly what those boys did with that. So there they had the Jersey Devil. So they took that old deer head and they took it home and they put it up in the just above the fireplace like they all did back in those days. And then it got thinking. People have been talking about this Jersey Devil raising Cain and terrorizing the whole state of New Jersey for hundreds of years, all the way back to the early Indian times. People are going to want to hear this story about how the Jersey Devil come to be captured and killed. So they set up a chair by the fireplace just under that deer head, and they got the news out that the Jersey Devil had finally been killed, and they'd be heroes. So they're going to take a little advantage of that. So they sat down there, and every hour on the hour, they would tell a story about how they were able to capture and kill the Jersey Devil, and of course they charged a little admission for it too. Well, the word got around and people came by the score, and those boys had never had to do another lick of work in their lives. Just sit there and tell that story. And it seemed to us like every time they told the story, it got a little bit longer, a little bit more involved. And you can go up there to New Jersey, Mays Landing, New Jersey, right in front of the courthouse up there, and you see two larger-than-life-size statues of those two young men, and right next to them is a plaque. That's a plaque's bigger than 6 feet tall. It's a huge plaque. And inscribed on that plaque was the story about how they were able to capture and kill the Jersey Devil. And you look around all over the grounds of that courthouse, you will see any indication of those two little preschool boys who started off the ball rolling.